Hey there, my name is Lexi, and thank you so much for joining me for LexChat today. If you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. And we're here for the LexChat, and LexChat is a show that's dedicated to music and entertainment, where we talk about the industry and the business, and we help each other to become better artists and better creatives. Alrighty, today on LexChat, I want to talk to you about basically keeping up with the ever-changing culture, the ever-changing technology that keeps changing in the music industry, and how that affects how we're interacting with fans, how we're interacting with supporters, all that good stuff. So if that is a topic that is interesting to you, then definitely make sure you stay tuned. I want to get into a few announcements before we get started. First off, if you haven't already, please go and check out my latest release, Labels Paid For, produced by Gray Keys. It's a really fun record. It's a mixture of me singing and rapping, and it's got that hip hop vibe, but a jazzy feel to it, and it's got a nice swing and a nice bop to it. And tell me what you think about the song, because I know what it means. Labels pay for, But I think my ladies especially will be able to relate to this, because it's one of those records. It's like dudes pay for labels, but they don't want to rock other labels. You know what I'm saying? So make sure y'all check that out. It is available on all major streaming platforms. That's Labels Paid For by Lexi. I even got a clean version if you don't want to listen to the explicit, or you want to be able to play it at a party. So make sure y'all check that out, and then come back and let me know what you think about that. Next announcement is the next virtual coffee date is going to be on the first Sunday of the month. It's the first Sunday of every month. The next one is going to be September 1st. So the next coffee date is going to be Sunday, September 1st at 6 p.m. Alrighty. And if you don't know what a coffee date is, it's basically a virtual meeting of creatives and business owners. Right now it's mostly creatives, but I do invite business owners to come on as well. And we help each other. We do think tanks, we brainstorm, we share some of the struggles we may be going through, or we share upcoming projects that we're working on. And we help each other to brainstorm through rollouts, share resources, give each other advice on different tactics that have worked for us and what might work for others. And it's just a community of creatives that I'm building to offer that support system, since, sometimes we don't get that. Not everyone is so lucky to have family or friends that are necessarily supportive of the creative journey. So it's nice to link up with other creatives. And that's what the coffee date is all about. So the next one is going to be on Sunday, September 1st at 6 p.m. on Instagram Live. That's my Instagram at LEXCATL.com. That is my main page. So make sure y'all come and tune in, tap in with the community. I don't have any upcoming shows and events to tell y'all about. And then the last thing I want to share with y'all is Magic Mind, which is a mental performance elixir, and it has really great ingredients like lion's mane mushroom, bacopa monnieri, ashwagandha, turmeric, L-theanine, vitamins D, all the vitamin Bs basically. And basically it is for stress management, it's for cognition, and it's for energy. So if you're struggling, if you want a substitute for your caffeine, or you want something in addition to your caffeine that's a little more, it's more healthy, it's based with organic ingredients, then I would highly recommend Magic Mind for you. It also helps to stay focused. That lion's mane mushroom really helps you hone in on your tasks, and then it's a stress management thing as well. That ashwagandha really does come into play, and I would highly recommend it to you. I've been using it for a while now, and I got a code for you to use should you decide to try it out. Go to magicmind.com/Lexi20. That's magicmind.com/Lexi20, LEXC20, to get 20% off of your order of a one-time purchase or a subscription. I get 15 bottles every month, and with the subscription it comes same time every single month, so my flow is not interrupted. My mental flow, that is. All right, I'm trying to be nasty. But anyway, that's all the announcements I have for y'all. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes of today's conversation. Alrighty, so what are we talking about? We're talking about how, and the reason why I came up with this topic, right? The ever-changing the ever-changing landscape, like based on technology and based on how people interact with today's music. And the reason why I came up with this topic is I keep a running list of different ideas that pop into my head. And this one is the first one on my list. I have like a task list through Google. And I wrote that it's hard to even keep up with artists I like if they're not Beyonce. And this is me reminiscing on how I used to consume music from my favorite artists versus how it is now, and examining how I would reach listeners with my own music. It's a lot of traffic to cut through. So that's the conversation that we're getting into today. That's the chat that we're getting into today. And it's just like a reflective episode. If at any point you can relate, make sure you're commenting down below. Make sure you give me a thumbs up, give me a like to let me know, like, yeah, I've thought about this as well. So let's go ahead and hop into the conversation. So the other part that inspires this chat for today, I am on YouTube a lot, and I was watching a YouTuber named Zach Campbell, and he was talking about the sales. Who was he talking? What was he talking about actually? It had to be something with like female rap and the direction it's been going, and how we compare numbers from like 15 years ago to how they do numbers now, and everything is just so different. Like 27,000 units in the first week is great these days. Back when music was fun for me, if you were moving like 200,000 the first week is what, and that's physical hard copy sales, right? This 27,000 a week is not really impressive to me, but I guess it is considering the time that we're in right now. So there are so many factors affecting that too, right? And Zach Campbell, he brought up the examples of Ice Spice, Chloe Bailey, and I believe JT. So all of whom have just released projects. I think JT and Ice Spice, their projects have been out for at least a month or two. I think JT's has probably been out for 2 months at least. Ice Spice just dropped maybe a month ago. Chloe Bailey just dropped maybe a week or two ago. And I didn't even know that Chloe Bailey dropped an album. And that is no shade to her. And apparently Zach Campbell was like saying the same things. Like, and when you look at the comments of that particular video, a lot of people were saying, had I not tuned into her social media, I would have not known that she had an album dropping. Now, I do follow Chloe Bailey, but I don't really love being on social media that much. And from what I saw on her page, there were always mentions of the new album, which is Trouble in Paradise, but I don't think I saw anything specific to a rollout. I don't think I saw anything specifically advertising that, like, when the album is even dropping. Like, I don't even think I saw a date for when the album was dropping. And so stuff like that gets me wondering. And then when I hear these other YouTubers talking about first week sales, it makes me wonder, you know, like, how did we get to this point in music where, you know, it doesn't really mean much to be backed by a label anymore. And it is so difficult to capture an audience. In regards to someone like a Chloe Bailey, right? As talented as she is, why doesn't she have more exposure? Why didn't the label, like Zach Campbell's whole thing was asking the question, like, was she sabotaged for her album rollout? Was it sabotage? Like, the label doesn't support it, basically, right? And, you know, it's just hard to say, because if music, there used to be like a kind of a guideline, kind of like a ladder that you follow when it comes to, you know, you get an artist, you develop them for a couple years, you have a smash breakout record, it does a world premiere on a TV show, like a music TV show, like a 106 in Park or a TRL. And before that, though, you're doing radio runs, you might work in movie deals, you're working cameos, you're working in late night TV show appearances, and just a whole media run, right? And there were more concentrated channels for us to refer to as the voice. The voice is telling us what's hot, what's coming out right now. So I know for me growing up, there was always 106 in Park with BET, and there was TRL with MTV. Those were the two main sources for music, for new artists coming out. And then even as a kid, shows like All That would have performance opportunities for these artists where the last 10 minutes, the last 5-10 minutes of the show, there would be some kind of musical artist featured. Even Dave Chappelle did it on his show. And I just don't see those kinds of focuses anymore. They're probably out there, but with the surge of social media and how heavily everybody is on social media, it's hard to get traffic to a traditional music TV format, right? And with social media, what it's done is it's made it so that we all have like we are our own network, essentially. And it's been said that people have like really short attention spans these days. I don't personally believe that. I mean, yes, maybe so, but I believe that it's also like an issue of quality that affects people's attention span. I think it's more so a quality thing versus everyone's attention is all over the place. But I will give it to everyone's attention is so all over the place. That's why attention spans seem short, because there are so many different outlets that are vying for our attention and vying to get us to tune in to this thing. Attention is the number one currency. That's why people are so hungry for clout on social media, right? Because we're trying to hone in on that attention and get someone's attention long enough and consistently enough to convince them to buy something or convince them to subscribe to something. Like we're trying to sell them on things. And so the longer you can hold someone's attention, the greater likelihood that they will start to recognize you, they will start to trust you, and then eventually it goes into that funnel of buying from you and spending money from you, and you become a trusted brand. And then there's brand loyalty that plays into that, the longer that you can hold someone's attention. But why is it so hard to hold people's attention these days? Like I said, we have so many different things grabbing at our attention. So back then, it used to just be, you see people on radio, you hear people on radio, you see them on maybe your favorite TV show, you might see them in a movie, and then you see them on tour, okay? That's like 4. That's only 4 things that I've listed, all right? So radio, TV, film, and going on tour. We still have those things today, but because social media has come in and pretty much made TV shows obsolete, like streaming has made that obsolete. Oh, and you had to go and you had to buy the physical album. The way that you listened to the music, actually, it was the same, right? You either listened on the radio, you heard it in a movie or a TV show, or you bought the album, or you went in person to see that person perform live. Those were the 4 ways to hear and see the artist. Now, we still have all of those things, but it's been so diluted in the way that we interact with our favorite artists, in the way that we keep up with our favorite artists. There used to be, like, fan clubs used to be a thing. And we do still have fan clubs, but I think it's migrated, it's transitioned to everything being so heavily focused on social media, right? So whereas before you had to beg to get on these different platforms, now we have our own platforms that we've created. We have become our own network, essentially. So you create a channel on YouTube, you can do whatever you want, pretty much within the guidelines of the YouTube community, whatever, YouTube community in terms, but you can pretty much do whatever you want on these different channels, right? So, but you are your own network, which means when you become your own network, you have to build up the same notoriety, the same recognition that a traditional TV station, a traditional radio station already has. So that's where these things that's where the music has taken such a turn, and that's why it's so much more difficult to get and to hold attention. So if you're your own network, we don't have network money, okay? A lot of us creatives, we are getting creative with the finance part because it's expensive to create this stuff. It's expensive to distribute it. And there were only a select few back then who were chosen to be pushed by the machine. So, either you had to have exceptional talent, or you had to have a brand and a packaging that made sense and made it easy for a label to be able to market you, to push you in front of people. All the more better if you got all of that wrapped up in one. And so you got that. So it's like curated. We're kind of being told who is really good, but those people also have earned that status because they have proven to have very great work ethic and the talent to back it up, right? Or if they didn't have the talent, at least they had the work ethic, and things were curated for us. It's not, there was social media training, and you didn't just put everything up on social media, and everyone was vying over details about your personal life, but that was kept private. Whereas now these days, everything seems to run off of clout. Everything seems to run off of shock value. And it's more so a popularity contest. People who are popular just so happen to want to make music, as opposed to people who are actually good at music having a system that would make them popular. So when I think back to, my thought of it's hard to even keep up with artists I like if they're not Beyonce. Beyonce comes from a time where you only had those outlets, and if you weren't performing within those 4 things, then you weren't going to get seen. And so you just kind of made sure that you were everywhere. The thing with social media, it gives this false illusion that we are reaching a lot of people and impacting people, but the impact is not the same because the internet is not real life, right? So the internet is not real life, but because we can reach more people without having to leave the house and without having to spend a lot of money, that's where everybody is going to. It's the easiest thing to do, right? But then it becomes, well, you still got to spend the money to get in front of an audience, to figure out where your audience is, what kind of things is your audience engaging with, like what's the avatar, what's the profile for the kind of people that would find your music appealing, And when that's been put onto one person, it becomes so much more difficult to figure out how to stay in touch with a fan base, how to even grow a fan base. Whereas before, like I said, the labels, they were much more valuable in having those teams that would do the focus groups and the studies and figure out who would this artist, who would this brand most likely appeal to. And just everything moving from physical media to digital media. So you can't even, there's nothing really to connect anymore. Like the internet, as we grow in accessibility, we decrease in like connection. And that's crazy to say, right? We grow in accessibility, but the connection piece has decreased. Like for me, I don't know. It's just something about the way that we interacted with music and interacted with artists back then. And when I say back then, I was born in 93. And music for me was great until like 2015 or 16. And streaming and social media really got their hands on things, and it became about the convenience. And yes, social media and the internet is convenient, but it's never going to top that physical connection, physically being in front of people, physically giving people something to hold, something that's tangible, It's like I'm not even moved the same when I read something online versus when I read something that I wrote in my notebook with pen and paper. Like this hits different from getting on my phone and typing some things. Like the connection is different, and it's a reinforcement. It's a reinforcement on what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing. Let me show you something, because I got this in my background. I'm glad I need to figure out how to get this on display better. But all right, I have my album, right? My album Love Reset. I got a physical copy made up because Even if you never listen to the CD, there's still a lot of cars that make CDs. But even if you never listen to the CD, look at this. Oh, this is the last MJ. That boy never came and picked up his album, but he's supported by buying. So I didn't know that. That's crazy. But even that, all right, this is signed. Let me show my camera. This is signed. All right. This is supposed to be for MJ, but he never came to pick it up. But this is signed. I can feel this. I can touch it. It's in my hand. I can look at the artwork. I can open it up and see the thank you letter to the fans, to the people that are supporting. I can open up and see the autograph. I can look at the CD. I can look at the back cover. You know, if I had a little bit more budget than this booklet, like I can take this out and there would be a booklet of lyrics right here. But I could take this out and this would unfold into a big poster. So now I bought the album. I don't just have the music. I have never before seen pictures of my favorite artists, or a never before seen poster of my favorite artist that I wouldn't be able to get had I not bought the CD. And so I think some artists are going back to that total experience for their fans. We've seen it with people like, I want to say Travis Scott has done it. I want to say that Nicki Minaj has done it. Beyonce, at her tours, she creates a whole experience. Like, the show run is amazing, but she's not offering any kind of package, so I can't say that about Beyonce. The only two examples I can think off the top of my head would be Nicki Minaj and Travis Scott, where you buy the album, or maybe even a Nipsey Hussle, but I don't remember exactly everything that was included with Nipsey Hussle's packaging. But you buy the album, there might now be a QR code on the inside that would take you to some exclusive music that you would only know about if you buy the physical album and you scan that. But you buy the album and it comes with a t-shirt. You buy the album and it comes with a hoodie. You buy the album and it comes with a lighter, a bookmark, a hat, some kind of merch, a personalized note from the artist to the audience, the supporter. And it's a way to connect, you know? And I didn't want this conversation to be all about the connectivity of things. I more so wanted it to be a conversation on how it's so much harder to keep up with my favorite artists because of the nature of the technology now. If I'm not following you on social media, I have a million things that I'm trying to do myself. If I'm not following you on social media, if I don't like being on social media because I need to live regular life outside of the internet, then how am I going to keep up with my favorite artists? We're bombarded with social media. We're bombarded with junk email even. Like, there's got to be something different that we can do to stand out. But then you got to have the funds to commit to it, to keep it consistent, and to consistently put it in front of people's faces as a reminder, like, here you are. It's not enough to just be on social media. We have to offer some kind of experience, some kind of community, some kind of special exclusive thing, you know? And as we go further along in our journeys, we really need to be thinking about, how am I interacting with my people? What kind of experience am I giving people to make them want to support me? Why should someone want to support me? It's a very loaded question, but it's fair to think about that, you know? You're just making music and throwing it out there. Why should I specifically come to your network, your channel, your social media page to interact with your music? I can do that and go on Spotify and just throw on a playlist and let it shuffle and discover new music that way. Why should I specifically come to you? So we just have to figure out, I bring in the connectivity thing because we have to figure out a way to find the connections and maintain the connections, and then make the connections special. What's so special about these connections? And that, I think, will keep people engaged, and that's a way to keep them coming back. And then aside from knowing where they are and where their attention goes, aside from knowing where they are and where their attention goes, how do we meet people where they are? And then how do we either engage with them where they are or convince them to come to where we want them to be, right? So that's just all I have on this chat for today. Let me know what you think about everything I've said. If you're watching on YouTube, put it in the comment section down below. If you're listening on a podcasting platform, leave a review for this episode and let me know what you think about this. If you're a creative yourself, do you feel like you're doing a good job of finding your fan base and connecting with your fan base and maintaining connection and relationship with your fan base? Let me know what you think about that. But that's all I have for this topic today. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe. If you enjoyed this stuff, tell me what you like. If you didn't like it, also comment what you didn't like about it. Give me some topic requests in the comment section down below, and we can explore those things. Let me know what kind of things you want to see. So yeah, that's all I got for y'all. Last reminders before we get out of here. Remember to go check out my song Labels Paid For on all major streaming platforms. Alrighty, check it out. It's a great song. It's a mixture of me rapping and singing. Produced by Gray Keys. I think we did that. We really did. Labels Paid For, all major streaming platforms by LexC. Check that out. All right. Remember that the next coffee date is going to be the first Sunday of the month. Is going to be on Sunday, September 1st at 6 p.m. That's on Instagram Live on my main page, LexCATL. That's LEXCATL. Alrighty. First coffee date, next coffee date, first Sunday of the month. All right, September 1st, 6 p.m. Alrighty. And then again, a last mention of Magic Mind Mental Performance Shot. Manage your stress, manage your focus, manage your energy by using Magic Mind. Go to magicmind.com/Lexi20 for 20% off of your order. That's how they're going to know that Lexi sent you. It's really helped me a lot, and I think it can help you as well if you're a big caffeine drinker. Coffee and caffeine? Okay. If you're a big caffeine drinker, but you're trying to get away from that and you want something healthier and more organic, then Magic Mind would be a great alternative or addition to your caffeine routine. So that's all I got for y'all today. I hope you really enjoyed the topic. My name is Lexi. Until next time, peace.
When it really go down, they never keep it a buck. These niggas really make you wanna hit a lick. I get sick and tired of dealing with the fuck shit, 'cause